to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
This is Banned from Ringside.
Tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast, TNA has its rebirth. We have the NJPW Battle in the Valley pay-per-view. Hook gets a title shot. Jinder Mahal gets a title shot. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast.
Are you trying to insinuate everybody was getting a title shot?
No, not at all. We had a philosophical discussion about this last week. Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Mark. So welcome to the Banned from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Sad Dude Tito. And sitting directly across from me, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
Elevate me to the squad. Oh, we're so elevated. God damn, I'm high. On that lovely note, I'll ask for congregation to bow their heads as I read from the latest edition of the Banned from Ringside podcast, volume 343, chapter 3, verse 14, and the good smart saith, hashtag boo the heels. It's all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat the holy trinity of BFR. Good week of wrestling. Good to be back with you fellas. Love the beefers, but unfortunately it's time to get back to the weekly grind that we call 2024 to see who's going to win beefers for 2024. So good to be back and good to have some wrestling to talk about.
And out there in Portland, Oregon, we have Two Beers. Zach Pullman, what's going on? Two Beers, Zach?
BFR West in the house.
It does not feel like the Pacific Northwest. I have not left my house since Friday. It's been snowy and icy, and I'm going to get out tomorrow, I think. But, yeah, that is fine with me. I'm an introvert who loves canceling plans.
Yes, it's been cold as fuck here, too. So we are coming at you from beautiful South City, St. Louis.
It's a balmy, 30-something degrees?
It's been pretty nice out the last couple of days, honestly. I came out to Jason's house tonight. It was a bit of a planning thing that we were trying. It was going to be really fucking cold. I said, I'll come on out. Turns out we were going to do it early. Now we're doing it the regular time anyway. I came in. I walked in on Jason cheating on me. I walked in on Jason cheating on Zach. I walked in on Jason cheating on all of you. Recording the Phoenix Splash podcast with his co-host Brett Jagger. I got to sit in and watch the last 15 minutes. It was quite a bit of fun. I don't think that Jason does enough self-promotion about the Phoenix Splash podcast. You have another whole podcast here with people that only want to listen to us talk about wrestling. We might as well talk about your other wrestling show because we don't do it that often. So tell the people about it.
Jesus Christ.
Just real quick.
You act like I don't be grandiose enough. Long story short, the Phoenix Splash podcast is all about the Perezu and Joshi promotions, New Japan, All Japan, Noah, Stardom, TJPW. Those promotions, Brett and I decided a year ago we were going to talk about it. We were just saying that this has been a full year since we've done the very first episode, so this is 19 in the books. Very different from BFR in the sense of what we talk about, and when we meet, obviously BFR is weekly, PSP is whenever we can make time to get together and talk for a couple hours. So totally different on both scenarios, both fun, but this is obviously BFR, the more established. PSP feels still like it's in its infancy. It's getting its legs together. It's starting to walk a little bit.
Basically, I'll say this. If you listen to the Band from Ringside and you ever think to yourself, I just think these guys are a bunch of casuals, actually. Are there any real hardcore wrestling fans out there for us? Then the Phoenix Splash podcast is for you. Those guys go deep. And you know what? It was nice meeting Brett. And I think somebody's getting added to the shout-outs at the end of the show. I think it's time to welcome Brett into the fold. But we got a bunch of stuff to talk about tonight. So without further ado, let's get to that 3 count. JCB, kick it off.
I guess we can do things chronologically. Thank you very much. I'm going to pull up the Battle in the Valley card so we can talk about that first. Thought this was a pretty good show off the top. Just the main event itself, Okada versus Ospreay in the main event. I thought this was another epic episode, chapter, whatever word you want to use in the sense of Okada versus Ospreay. I almost felt like Will Ospreay was going to win this bad boy for a little bit, but it was not meant to be. I love the fact that Ospreay was pulling out all the stops, pulling out the styles clash, any and everything that you can possibly think of to try to get the one last win over Okada before he walks out the door. The fact that Ospreay is being very open about him leaving and how much it means to him just added a little more gravitas to the match. I didn't know how I won't say lopsided, but I guess the advantage was in Okada's favor until they showed the opening vignettes with every time that Ospreay won and Okada won. And, it was a nice little walk down memory lane. And like I said before, last week, 2 weeks ago, Ospreay going to AEW makes me jealous because AEW is getting ready to have some amazing matches in 2024 once he comes over. But first things first, he's finishing his New Japan contract, and this was another amazing match on the way to another probably epic march for 2024.
Two Beer Zach, what did you think about Ospreay Okada?
Oh man, I thought it was excellent. It was in front of a few thousand people in California, and I think it was worthy. Yeah, I think it was worthy of a Tokyo Dome main event, though. I mean, this was a fantastic match. I mean, these brothers could have gone out there and just, did a match, right? And the American fans would have eaten it up. Mm-hmm. They would have got to see Ospreay versus Okada, and these motherfuckers went out and brought it. And it was great. Really, really kind of cool post-match and post-show comments from Will Ospreay. And you could tell that, Okada, their rivalry and also their relationship has meant a lot to him. And they have great in-ring chemistry. And, I mean, it's probably the best guy going right now wrestling the best wrestler of our generation. Great.
So I got to ask you, Zach, and then Jason, this will give you a second to answer this question. Was it better than Okada Danielson at Wrestle Kingdom?
Ooh, that's tough.
It's tough because you know what you want to say the answer is, but you don't want to say that the answer is Ospreay Okada.
It's different. It was definitely different. I mean, they're both equal, or they're both top tier wrestling matches. Two of the best matches that we'll see all year, and the year is not even 3 weeks in. I don't know.
That's just the way
they're different matches. It's tough. If I had to say one over the other, I'd probably say the Danielson match, because I still think the Wrestle Kingdom match from last year with Ospreay and Okada was better than this one. So,
Jason, same question.
I gave this match Okada Ospreay 5 stars, so I know I didn't give Danielson Ospreay 5 stars, so I think we just kind of
that's a very logical answer.
I mean,
didn't let your heart get in the way.
No,
you got stats in front of you.
I know. I just watched it and I was like, God damn that. I mean, it was an amazing fucking match. Just for me, the history between the two just made it it elevated it a little more. The in-ring shit, you know what you're gonna get. You know what I'm saying? To me, what made it for me a 5-star match was the fact that you had Will Ospreay on the way out the door, but still just bringing it like he was still a New Japan contracted star. So in that scenario, it was good to see that we got a real legit match versus like what Three Beer was saying, they just mailing the shit in.
Well, these guys have more of a history together too. I like this match better. I've watched them both twice. Bo came over to watch the Rams game Sunday night, and I was like, "Oh, you should check this match out." And I played that during halftime, so I got to watch it twice. And the second time, man, that Spanish Fly
off of the Rainmaker
is
suck my dick.
Is fucking nuts, dude.
Suck my dick.
Just to bust that out in the middle of the match. It wasn't like man, it was fucking badass. You
said something about the announcers not putting it over that much. and granted, I know they've done the spot before, but I watched the Japanese feed because that's what's on New Japan World. There's no English commentary. And those dudes, I couldn't tell what they were saying, but they were hyped.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they were losing their goddamn minds.
Very cool match with a good finish. It was decisive. And another in a long line. I don't know if this is my favorite match between them. I think the G1 final is probably my favorite match of their two. But this, to me, this is better than any match that was on Wrestle Kingdom.
I can't necessarily say I totally disagree. This was, like I said,
not far and away.
No, but it's
if it was on Wrestle Kingdom, it would have been the best match.
Yeah, okay, totally fair enough. Let's go ass backwards. Moxley versus Shingo in a no DQ match. If you didn't have this main event match, this was probably the match of the night as far as I was concerned. I wasn't even worried about, could Shingo match Moxley's physicality. Obviously he can. It was just what kind of crazy shit were these two jokers getting ready to do, and they damn sure didn't disappoint.
Man, no wonder this motherfucker sold out. Those are two huge matches at the top of the card.
Either one could have been a main event, and you wouldn't have blinked an eye. Shingo getting busted open first obviously was the funny part about this match to begin with, and I wouldn't even consider it funny. It's just, if you had to put money on who's getting busted open first, you would obviously go Moxley. From that point, it was just, two guys just beating the dog shit out of each other. Moxley ultimately wins the match and then goes out to challenges Naito for the IWGP Championship post-match. We could talk about that here in a little bit, but I thought this was a really good match. Dare I say, like I said, if it wasn't for the main event, it was the best match. It would have been the best match of the night. Moxley being Moxley, Shingo being Shingo, and the fact that you didn't have any rules just made this one. It's one of the must-see matches of this card. Those two top ones for sure.
Two beer Zach.
Oh, fantastic! The only thing I didn't like about it were like the headbutts, like the real deal headbutts. I just, it's like, man, you guys can do all this crazy stuff, and you just don't got to do that. I mean, you can't tell Jon Moxley or Shingo Takagi anything. Just except thank you, but that was a phenomenal match. It was funny because they did like this death match or kind of hardcore style, which Moxley tends to do in some of these American New Japan shows. I really wanted to see them just wrestle, even though I knew this it was going to be this kind of match. It kind of makes me want just a pure wrestling match from the two of them, but seems like Moxley has, I know, right? Seems like Moxley has his sights set on another LIJ.
Put that shit on, motherfucker.
And that's in Chicago, so that's announced. And they've actually already sold out Chicago. They only had half the building set up.
Slow down, so man. We open that up more seats, dog. Let's just chill out.
They had
so how many tickets did they sell?
It was shit. It was
a couple thousand.
Yeah, I was going to say it was at least
3,500.
Yeah, I was going to say it was at least 3,000.
Yeah, 3,500, and I think it seats 7,000. So
they have said that.
Set up.
Sorry, they have said that's a non-title match, right?
No,
they just can't announce it for the title because he has defenses before that.
Oh,
so they're going to wrestle.
Touch.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know how this is going to work.
I'm just Americanized, man. Like they don't do that shit in WWE.
No, you know how this shit's gonna work, man. Give me a break. I'll say, ain't no motherfucking way you gonna have this match happen and not have it for the title. Give me a break.
How many times is Roman gonna defend the title between now and then?
This is in March.
Now in April?
No. I thought this was in March.
Oh, he's defending it. Yeah, oh, it's in March.
This Naito
he's only
Moxley
gonna
match.
defend it one time.
No, it's the middle. It's actually after Mania, so he'll only defend it twice. Because it'll be Rumble. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you are right. Okay, my bad. Going ass backwards again.
Well, just about Shingo Mox, like I had the exact same thought that Zach did, which is, man, I'd really like to just watch these guys wrestle, and then I thought to myself, you spoiled little fucking brat. Like, all this fucking wrestling you get to watch. You're watching, I mean, because the match was really fun. I mean, but it is my criticism of it. Like, I mean, I am a spoiled little wrestling baby right now.
Okay, at least you
with
own
all
it.
the wrestling I get to watch.
Okay.
Just a spoiled little baby. But, I mean, a spoiled little baby I am.
Okay, wham, motherfucker, wham. I'll say I really enjoyed the match. I'm sorry, not sorry. Another match I enjoyed, didn't like to finish, was for the Continental Crown title, I guess is what they're calling it. Eddie Kingston, the retaining champion, versus Gabriel Kidd. Big fan of Gabriel Kidd. I'll just speak for myself. I'm not saying he's a generational talent like he likes to claim, but I would definitely check the box off. That is the Madman box. Madman box checked. This motherfucker is on a whole different level of just crazy, whether it's kayfabe style or not. Somebody said that he should be the leader of the Bullet Club. I didn't necessarily have a problem with that. His charisma is more. I would want to hear him talk more so than I would want to see David Finlay talk.
I gotta be honest. I think I said that back in August.
You might have, and I'm not saying that you didn't say that. I just saw this recently, and then seeing this match, which ends up being a double count out. Neither guy can get back into the ring before the 20 count. They're fighting on the outside, which neither here nor there. For me, it gives Eddie another title defense. Obviously, it's not a retaining title defense, but he defends the title here. But for me, it's more so about Gabe Kidd than anything else. They're positioning him, at least New Japan, it feels like positioning him in a spot where he's on his way up the card. Whether it's him and Alex Coughlin, in this case, Coughlin teamed up with Clark Connors in a tag match, or it's just him by himself. Gabe Kidd has had some high-profile matches at the end of 23, Will Ospreay, and now the opening of 24 with Eddie Kingston. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, Gabe Kidd is going to be one to watch for in 2024.
Zach, what'd you think of it?
Oh, man, a match is hype as fuck when it ends in a double countout and nobody cares.
I'm like, when's the next motherfucking match? Well, shit, bring that shit on.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It's called the Gabe Kidd. That's what him and Kiyomiya did, too.
Yeah, it's like a brawling outside. Like, he's got, this formula. He's really kind of, found a niche in New Japan, and yeah, I mean, hard-hitting style. It's a lot of brawling outside, but man, it's real good. I always enjoy his matches.
Yeah, and he was the one in the G1 that attacked his opponent every time while they were coming down the ramp. It's like they should just start having him come out first, but
God forbid, you can look behind you, look around while you coming down to the ring. I mean, what the fuck?
It looks like they're going right back to this at Windy City Riot, though. Looks like there's a rematch, so
shit, yeah,
that would be cool if Gabe Kidd goes over there. That'd be fucking really cool.
I would be surprised, but I would be pleasantly surprised.
You can't have this everyman character, Eddie Kingston, and he just never loses? That's not the everyman. He's dominant at this point.
Okay, completely fair. I'll just say this, and I said this kind of like a few weeks ago, especially post Eddie Kingston winning the Continental Crown title. This still feels like a mid-card title. No disrespect to Gabe Kidd. I think Gabe Kidd is on the ascend, on the rise. I expect big and great things from him, singles, tag, whatever the case may be. Just the quality of Eddie Kingston's opponents doesn't make it feel like all the hubbub leading up to this point, him beating Moxley, him beating Danielson.
The Ring of Honor heavyweight title is in there.
Right.
I mean, the Ring of Honor heavyweight title that's a big title.
It almost feels like it.
That's not a mid-card title.
No, and that now you have three titles that don't feel like a true world heavyweight championship.
Find them all down.
Okay, yeah, dummy them down.
Maybe not the Never Open Weight.
No, it's not the Never Open Weight. It's the New Japan Strong, but that one probably needed to be fused into some shit.
Whatever.
At some point. TMDK and this
Tama Kingston.
TMDK versus Riddle and mystery opponent, in this case TMDK being Bad Dude Tito and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Matt Riddle and one Jeff Cobb. did not know that Matt Riddle and Jeff Cobb were a former tag team in PWG, I believe, called the Chosen Ones. So
the Chosen Bros.
The Chosen Bros. I'm sorry. So once hearing that, I was like, oh, okay, so we got a little shit going on over here. And they wrestled like a tag team. It usually wrestles in this scenario. It didn't feel like they missed a beat. I do like the fact that you had a big, strong Jeff Cobb and then the multifaceted Matt Riddle. I forget how good Matt Riddle can be, minus the bullshit, shtick of, the bro coming from WWE. If you just let Matt Riddle just be Matt Riddle, I can get in behind that. It's not a knock against his stick in WWE. Some people liked it. Some people loved it. For me, it wasn't very good until Randy Orton came along, and now you had somebody you can play that off of. Neither here nor there. I thought this was a really good match. Love to see Bad Dude Tito in situations like this, especially when you got all this talent around. So maybe, hopefully, somebody will be smart enough to sign him. But this is a good match. Matt Riddle and Jeff Cobb go over. No problem with that. You keep Riddle strong for Tanahashi down the line. Jeff Cobb, I think, should be somebody that not named David Finlay that should be global heavyweight champion. That's just me. But we'll see how that unfolds. Nothing hurts with TMDK, especially with ZSJ. He didn't take the L. It's Bad Dude Tito took the L on that one. So in this scenario, to me, it's wins across the board, especially with the fact that you have Matt Riddle being probably one of the biggest winners of the bunch. He comes out. He gets a little love. You put him next to Jeff Cobb, yada, yada, yada. Go ahead, 3-Beer.
Sorry to have a brief digression here, but we have breaking news, fellas. Breaking news. This news is so breaking, it actually comes from the future because it's dated January 19th because it's coming from Japan. But this is from the official website of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Kazuchika Okada will be leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling after the conclusion of his contract on January 31st, 2024. He's going to work the dates in Osaka and Sapporo in February, but after that, they're changing all the cards. So that's huge.
Damn.
So Okada's gone.
He's going. It's AEW or WWE.
Ooh.
Or TNA.
Let's not get out of hand now. Let's slow down. Just because he kissed the TNA emblem the other night doesn't mean he's going to TNA.
I cannot see him going to WWE.
I could see him taking $5 million a year. I just can't see it. I'm not saying which side I can't see it from. I'm not saying that he wouldn't go there. I'm saying it just doesn't seem like, I don't know. I mean,
I'm stunned.
That I would say that?
Yeah.
I'm stunned.
It's happening.
Yeah, number one. Number two, I'm stunned that New Japan has allowed this to get to this point.
Well, then Ospreay should have gone over. Okada's on his way out.
They might not have known then.
Might not. Yeah. I mean, look at the Tama Tonga situation. They didn't know until Tama Tonga came post match. Was like, hey, I'm dropping I'm chucking the deuce up in this motherfucker. I'm out.
Next year's Wrestle Kingdom's going to be headlined by Titan and Master Wato.
And it's going to be lit.
I'd be cool with it though.
I'm sorry, but yeah, that's huge.
Massive news.
Back to that match.
I would say we're journalists.
Wow. Honestly, and I'll just be. This is just me, just spitballing for 30 seconds, and obviously we can get back on track here in a second. If it's me. If I got to put money down on it, I think he's going to AEW. It's just too many of his friends over there. It's too many people that he knows. It kind of makes more sense. If it was,
that's what I say.
If I had my choice, I'm sorry. I still think he should go to WWE. He could have the better matches. It's a worldwide stage. Okada could be on.
Could have the better matches. Like what?
I
could
trust
have the better matches in WWE.
I trust Triple H more than I do Tony Khan. If you just want to you don't want to have some, standout matches alone, go to AEW. If you want to tell stories, in a way that could be really compelling, I think you should go to WWE.
Zach, what do you think?
That's a bonkers take.
I agree.
Bonkers as it may be. Look, as bonkers as it may be, I was thinking about Miro the other day. Miro is a good example. We got him back, and now what? He's back in this purgatory again.
Mid-card guy. He's a mid-card guy for his whole fucking career. He ain't a top guy.
I'll tell you what.
Oh, so you gonna let this Miro blasphemy go ahead and happen in front of you?
I didn't like it so much. Okay, but I have something else to say though. Is that I would take Miro, that one match that we got of Miro versus Hobbs versus 20 Miro versus Miz on the second match of Backlash or whatever.
That's under Vince. Can we not agree that Triple H has done a better job than Vince has?
We've never seen anybody do a good job with Miro except for Miro and Rusev Day. How come I can never remember what his name was? English. That's the most over he's ever been, and he got himself over. So nobody's ever done a good job with him.
Okay.
I don't think it's a comparable scenario. I do think out of the two, I would rather see him in AEW just because of the match quality. But if I had to bet today, I would bet he's going to WWE to make it rain. I think they just probably back the truck up for him. And Tony Khan has the money, but dude, that would be a huge coup. And there was kind of rumblings about him going to WWE, and it's where there's smoke, there's fire.
Especially if they're looking to expand. Yeah. Oh man. But if
he could be the new Roman Reigns in WWE,
if they're trying to expand into Japan, which Triple H, that I know that's big on his list of what to do or what he wants to do. They've been talking about NXT Japan for a couple years now. Nobody could do it like Okada. They're not going real hard after Sonata.
Cody Rhodes is in shambles right now.
Dude, Cody is like, what the fuck, man? God damn it. I just want to win the title. That's all I want.
Cody gonna finish the story in a retirement match.
Nigga, this motherfucker, Cody Rhodes is probably, you're 3Beer, you are so right. Cody Rhodes is probably somewhere in the corner why is this happening to me? What have I done wrong? I've done everything right.
There's some drywall repairman in Atlanta that's just fucking raking it in because Cody's just punching his walls.
Cody Rhodes, he is insanely over.
Dude.
Insanely over.
It's almost going to be a year after the fact he's won the Royal Rumble. Nothing has changed. His momentum still feels the same. And now he could possibly be out of the WrestleMania match that feels like it should be a shoe-in from a year ago.
And he's been in some pretty good feuds. He had a good year.
They've done a lot to keep him.
We are so off track now.
Well, it was the Okada thing, man. It was the Okada thing.
We're having a code.
I will say.
That's my bad. I'm supposed to keep this shit in line.
No, it's breaking news, damn it. That's not your fault.
For me, it was WWE Matt Riddle, though. I think my favorite guy in this whole match was Bad Dude Tito.
Oh, yeah. Big breakout type of match.
I don't think so.
It really was.
No, I guess because I've seen Bad Dude Tito in New Japan Strong episodes, things like that. For me, this is nothing I hadn't seen before, and that's why I was, I'm banging the table for somebody to, to sign him or for shit. New Japan needs to just now pony up and just get him at this point. What the fuck?
To be the standout performer in a ring with those three guys
is saying something for sure. No question about it. I'm a huge Bad Dude Tito fan, obviously. From that point, Julia beats Trish Adora. Trish Adora looks good, but obviously Julia retains.
You left out the Mustafa Ali vignette.
See,
That's another ace going to WWE.
Mustafa Ali comes out to vignette style challenges Hiromu Takahashi for a match. I think that's going to be absolutely amazing, just for the fact that you have two styles that are going to mesh very well with each other. Mustafa Ali going the independent route until somebody's smart enough to sign him.
And go ahead. That's in his hometown, right? He's from Chicago. So that's going to be a hot crowd for a fucking hot match. Ali's got something to prove. He's going to be in front of his home fans. Keep an eye on it. Hey, I got a prediction. Stone Cold Lead Pipe Lock of the Week.
Oh, shit.
That match is going to be watchable.
I'm like bracing for him.
Don't argue with me. Nope. I'm sticking by it. You can't talk me off the ledge. No.
But what happens is...
It's going to be good. I promise the match is going to be good.
Are you sure? I mean, can you want to talk about this?
It's going to be very, very watchable.
Okay. I don't want you to do something crazy. Other winners, just for giggles, and then there was one angle at the very beginning we're going to talk about. GOD beats War Dogs. David Finlay defeats TJP. Valdador Jr. and Mascara Dorada defeat Rocky Romero and Soberano Jr. in the opener. Team Filthy falls to Shota Umino, Fred Rosser, and Jacob Fatu. Post-match in that curtain jerker, one Jack Perry comes out to attack Shota Umino and then tears up his supposed AEW contract after the fact and starts to call himself the scapegoat. Okay. Number one, I'm not too mad about the angle itself. If you want to bring Jack Perry over to New Japan to get his ass handed to him, so be it. That's his business.
Somebody at AEW should make some money off of it.
I'm looking forward to see Jack Perry getting his head handed to him by Shota Umino and others, Shingo Takagi, so on and so forth. Number two, this tearing up of the AEW contract. Get the fuck up out of here. You expect me to believe that AEW and Jack Perry are just going to part ways and Jack Perry's going to come out and do that shit publicly? No. Big time fucking work. I'm not even believing that shit. You didn't even make me blink about it. It's Jack Perry. If he tears up his contract, it's not like it's CM Punk coming out here and tearing up his contract. It doesn't even register on the radar. The fact that he picks Shota Umino, or that's who they're booking him with, it's fine. It's not a big deal on the grand scheme of things. But for me, A, it was a surprise, but B, the way they kind of executed it, not the biggest fan in the world about it.
What you think of it, Zach?
The amount of people that thought that was a shoot should be zero, but there's probably some real dumb bastards out there. But yeah, the angle is what it is. But the idea of an excursion for Jack Perry, like get him out of AEW where there's already just like so many guys, and get him wrestling in a Japanese ring. Learning the ropes. He's still pretty young. I think that part is phenomenal. He can work on his character. He can work on his ring work. I think excursions are good, and I think AEW should do more of them and send more of these guys to Mexico and Japan, and they come back better for it. I mean, look at fucking Yota Tsuji and Yu Uemura. Like they went away for like 9 months and come back fucking superstars.
I can't necessarily argue with that.
Yeah, I mean, I was completely fine with this. I like Jack Perry. I've always been a fan of him. Always just said the name needs to change, and now they call him Jack Perry, which I think is good. You know, there's a little bit of juice behind this character, you know, because it's based on some real shit, and I mean, it is wild that happened, and CM Punk showed up in WWE before Jack Perry showed up back on television. That is wild.
It's CM Punk.
Yeah, I'm just saying, why was Jack Perry away so long? I mean, he's young and dumb, and he got in a little skirmish backstage.
He did the Lord's work, and sometimes doing the Lord's work, you have to pay the penance for it.
This character, the scapegoat Jack Perry, that works for me. That works for me. I mean, like the Young Bucks kind of did too. I don't want to jump ahead, but the Young Bucks started kind of playing into that EVP shit this week, and it's like, why did you guys do this right after Brawl Out?
Yeah.
Why didn't you guys try to make money right after it with this shit?
Yeah.
Why didn't you bring Jack Perry back 3 weeks later, calling himself the scapegoat, when it was still fucking hot?
Right.
Somebody's got to make money off it. Might as well be Jack Perry.
God bless him. I ain't mad at him. Shit, get your paper. Obviously, that wraps up Battle of the Valley. The Okada news, obviously, is probably going to be more so of the 1 count than Battle of the Valley, because now that, looking, back at it, Monday Night Quarterback, we are looking at one of the last, 3 matches, including this one of Kazuchika Okada as the Rainmaker of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So it's going to be real interesting these next 2 nights where he wrestles, losing Jay White, losing Will Ospreay, now losing Okada. I'm not going to sit here and say that New Japan's in trouble, but these young guys, the Yota Tsujis, Renderitas, Shota Uminos, they're going to have to grow up pretty quick, because they're going to be on the top of the card before you know it.
Yeah, Daddy's going out for a pack of cigarettes. It's time for you to get a fucking job.
What's the Harlem Nights? Hey, Rosie, put your mom on the phone. Yeah, Betty, I'm never coming home again. Can catch you later. I mean, it's basically like that. It's so wild that this is happening. And I mean, it's one.
Who are Okada's last scheduled matches against?
Shit.
They should have him job out defending.
Well, one has to be the TMDK title defense. Him, Tanahashi, and Ishii are facing Fujita, and I believe it's TMDK, Mikey Nichols, and Shane Hayes. I know that's a scheduled title match, so either for whatever reason, if he doesn't show up, they forfeit the titles, if I'm not mistaken, so TMDK would win. I thought TMDK would win anyway, because it just felt like Okada and the 6-man titles didn't make sense. It was probably, and Tanahashi's a double champion. I mean, Tanahashi doesn't need to be a double champion and the president of New Japan Wrestling. I mean, what the fuck? Pass the blunt, motherfucker. So in that point, I already thought that he was going to be, they were going to drop the titles then. I just don't know what the next match is. I'm sure we can find out, but shocking news. Ultimately, as a New Japan fan, I'm going to really start getting high here in like 30 seconds, because I'm feeling all in my feelings about this shit.
Poor Jason. Let's get to that 2 count.
Naito, save us.
Dak, what's the 2 count?
2 count, we can talk some AEW stuff. Rampage, pretty skippable this week. We did have a Continental Crown match with Eddie Kingston and Wheeler Yuta, and a pretty solid match with Swerve Strickland and Matt Sydal, which completely makes sense. Those guys are both really talented, but really nothing to really write home about, except the Hardys did a little vignette backstage with Renee Paquette, and they're doing this funny gimmick where they're complaining about being on Rampage because they think that they deserve to be on like the main show, which is like pretty inside, and it's like a weird way to turn the heel, which is what I think they're doing. But like also the Hardys just like kind of suck now, and it's kind of sad. So like it's just, they're like complaining that they're not like on the best show, but they're also just not very good on TV. They really fucked a lot of stuff up in the ring. They can barely move. They need to have their retirement match soon.
I was gonna say, are we sure this is a work? Like, or is it actually them complaining about it? Like Tony Khan being like, "Nah, dude.
Why don't you just hang out here?"
It might not be a work.
I mean, it always had to end this way, though, right? I mean, that or something worse. So, I mean, this is probably the best case scenario for them guys, just kind of to peter out.
I'll just say this. Ric Flair Hardys, guys that have been brought in past their prime with no real direction at this point. I always thought the Hardys would win the AEW championships just for, shits and giggles. TK's kind of a mark when it comes to shit like that. See Saraya winning the AEW women's title. So for me, I always thought that was a slam dunk. Now, Ric Flair aside, I mean, we could talk about him when the time comes up, but just on the Hardys.
There's a big difference between Saraya and the Hardys.
What's Saraya doing now?
I mean, not much, but she's just a lot younger.
That was a good moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It would be a feel-good moment for the Hardys to win the AEW tag team titles. It doesn't really mean anything. We can all move along from that point. Everybody walks away happy. What's the difference?
Tony Khan doesn't need... Yeah.
Tony
Khan doesn't need feel-good moments because Tony Khan feels good all the time. You know what I mean? I'm tapping my nostril.
See, this is where we need not garage band, but whatever that fucking shit is.
Video.
I can't even think of it now. So goddamn high. Anyway, now it wouldn't make Impact if the Hardys won. When they first got to get...
Oh, they can do it on Impact.
Yeah, right. When they first got to AEW and they became a team, if you would have pulled the trigger right then, that's the pop you get. That's the thing. That's no different than what they did with Saraya. They took it to her hometown. She won the title and then dropped it subsequently thereafter. If they did it with the Hardys the same way, they go to AEW, they win the titles, and then drop it subsequently thereafter, I don't see what the difference is.
They were supposed to, and then Jeff got DUI.
Okay, well then blame Jeff. Shit, don't blame Tony Khan.
Life finds a way.
Blame Jeff. So not willing to stop, put the shit down. I mean, I get it. I just, like I said, to me, if you'd have done it right away, it could have been done. Check mark, box off. And but now they're on TV and nobody gives a shit.
And they're just not even, like, Matt could barely walk, and Jeff just, like, botches spots all day.
Jeff feels like he's just there just to collect the check, man. That's it.
What an odd career. They should make the Iron Claw 2.
Stop.
The Hardys.
They're good.
I know they're still alive, but it would be interesting.
Stop. AJ Styles coming back and be like, this motherfucker.
The Swanton Bomb. The Iron Claw 2, the Swanton Bomb.
God damn. Lucha Chris, make that a poster, goddamn it. That's your job for the month. Go ahead, 3-Beer. I'm sorry. Do your thing.
No, it's just bonkers that at one time Jeff Hardy was like the biggest thing in the entire business.
No!
Yeah, it's wild. We have pretty good Collision from AEW. It's Collision and Battle of the Belts. Unfortunately, Battle of the Belts is like totally skippable. Even though it wasn't like bad, it's just skippable in the sense that there's never been a title change except for like Sammy Guevara won like however long ago. On the first one. Yeah,
they said that like right before it came on. I was just like, now see, that's probably something you probably want to just keep in your pocket because it's been so long. I'm sitting there trying to think of like, who did he beat? I was like, did he beat Cody? That kind of makes sense because it would have been, something big, especially on the first show. But I was like, dude, I can't even remember. And that's what the problem is, man. They've made Battle of the Belts so irrelevant that it's, I watched it, but it's borderline skippable just because nothing ever happens.
All I can think when I'm watching it is, why are they doing this? And it's like, well, they must be doing it because the TV channel, or TBS or TNT, was like, can you give us another hour once a month or something? And that's why they do it. Like, it is really, it's like an AEW
That's
Dark.
Exactly why they do it.
It's an AEW Dark with titles on the line. Do titles ever change? It doesn't feel like it.
Sammy Guevara is the only person in the 9 shows now that's won a title in 9 shows.
No way. That's the only time the titles change?
Yeah. They said it.
That's like 30 matches.
When Jericho and Sammy were doing their vignette on Collision, whoever it was, Dasha was like, Sammy Guevara, you're the only person in the Battle of the Belts history to win, a title in the Battle of the Belts. I'm like, damn, that's the only person. It's going to be the 9th edition coming out. Get the fuck out of here. You knew Anna Jay wasn't going to win. I can't think of who Orange Cassidy was defended against.
Preston Vance.
Enough said. So now what? I'm like, dude, y'all need to be ashamed of yourselves. Just throw us a fucking bone. Have somebody drop the title on one of them, so that way you still make it feel like, hey, it could happen at any time.
Hey,
now, the ninth when nobody
I'm just going to
cares.
say a PSA to all wrestling bookers out there. At least the ones that I watch. So basically just Tony Khan and Triple H. We need titles to change more. You guys got to cut this shit out.
No.
Change the titles.
Gunther is a reason why I think a good title run helps both sides.
Gunther, Seth, Reigns, Rhea Ripley.
Okay, perfect. MJF.
Yeah, whoever retired with the 24/7 title. I'm just saying, we could use more title changes.
Here's the crazy thing is they did do a title change this week. It's a good one, I think. You got the Bang Bang Gang, which are getting ahead of ourselves. But, they won the ROH trios. Like, I don't know why that couldn't have been on Battle of the Belts. Like, I don't know why they had to have, like, this trios match on Collision where they had Mogul Embassy versus, like, Lance Archer and the Righteous, which was, like, not even that good. I like they're fine, but it's like it was just a nothing happening match, like pretty much. Anyway, yeah, I'm with you. But yeah, Collision opened with Lee Moriarty, which like the unfortunate aspect of like nobody thinking that Lee Moriarty is gonna like win, which like Edge's like ever since he's come to AEW, besides like wrestling Christian, he just like beats a bunch of young guys, and that's just like what he does.
Yeah, I don't get it.
So I really like the stuff that he's done with Christian, but outside of that, I think it's been, I wouldn't say lackluster, but, I don't think he's really given these guys a rub by beating them.
No, it's weird. It's a weird strategy to have with him. I mean, obviously, it's what he wants to do. He's like, I want to have a match with Griff.
Right.
They learn by being in the ring with him, so that's cool. But yeah, I don't know.
I like Lee Moriarty, but I mean, I'm kind of like with Bill on this one. What is this? I mean, is this a real rub? I mean, I guess Adam Copeland's going to be fine. We know that. I mean, what's this doing for Lee Moriarty? It just feels like we fed him and Shane Taylor to Adam Copeland just to keep him, hot for, a third match versus Christian Cage. If that's the case, then so be it. But let's not act like it. I guess because of the way the storyline is, he's building himself back up. So you're going to go through Griff Garrison and Lee Moriarty's or whatever. But that's not doing anything for those guys.
Yeah. We had a very fun, didn't really have any story, elements. It was just, but it was just, and it was very fast. But I love this Dustin Rhodes Willie Mack match, man. Just a good, fast professional wrestling match. Dustin Rhodes, getting a win because he's challenging Christian. So that was just kind of to help build him up. But it was pretty fun.
Sometimes it's easy to forget how much fucking Dustin Rhodes can go.
Yeah.
He is a really cool wrestler when he gets some time, like 10, 12, 15 minutes. I feel like I bring this up all the time, but Goldust and Stardust kind of ran Raw for a while. It was them and the Shield for 4 months. It was like every single night. Yeah. He's a great wrestler, and I love watching him.
No, Willie Mack is another one of those guys that is good talent. Him and Dustin had a good match. I kind of feel bad for Willie because he came over and now he's just kind of in that little mix of enhancement talent guys that can come out and give you a nice 8, 10, 12-minute match or whatever, but ultimately goes down to Dustin Rhodes here. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, why is he losing to Dustin Rhodes? It's a weird random match. Tony Khan just doesn't do this to just do this. You know what I'm saying? There's a pattern. Well, I just couldn't figure it out. And then obviously Dustin Rhodes goes backstage. Christian Cage interrupts him. I'm like, son of a bitch. Should have seen this one coming.
And this was great, not only because, Christian doing his typical shtick, which was very fun, where he's like, oh, you want to win the TNT title? That's a nice dream. He's like, speaking of dreams, it'd be nice if your dad was around to see it.
I'm like, son of a bitch.
Did that shit. And then he says, besides, like, the dead dad thing, he's like, yeah, they call your dad a legend. He's like, nobody's ever said that about you. And it's crazy because I have been watching Dustin Rhodes wrestle my entire life. He was the natural. Dustin Runnels or Dustin Rhodes, whichever one at the time, whenever in WCW, whenever I was like a little kid. And then he was Gold Dust whenever I was like real heavy into wrestling. And just absolutely wild. I've been watching him for so long. But he cut a pretty nice promo on Christian too, just old school wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And, there was another kind of match, JD Drake. Again, on paper, you're like, this is like whatever. But they went out and had like a really fun competitive match. JD Drake is a really good worker, and Adam Page just is fucking phenomenal. I feel like he gets overshadowed a lot with all like the drama and shit, in the past. But Adam Page, when he's out there, like, he's one of the fucking best workers in a company full of fantastic workers, and I think that he deserves some credit. And they put out a pretty fucking nice match here. I've
never had any issues with Hangman's in-ring performance. That's for sure. It's true. I've never had any issues with it. I know. I'm seconding what Zach says. He's fucking great.
I was waiting for you to say a but.
No but. No but. I like the tease, guys.
Yeah, I was about to say, Adam Page dodged a little shrapnel on that one. I agree with everything what Zach said. I think the fact that him being Hangman has lost twice to Swerve always gives you a natural avenue back to Swerve whenever you want to go back to it. How and when TK does it, I think we'll just have to wait and see. But this rebirth, or for lack of a better word, second act of Hangman Page has been way more, well, I should say way more intriguing, but intriguing than the first. The first act was obviously good because it was the rise to the AEW championship and him finally beating Kenny Omega to do it. This time around, this just feels a little different because it's almost like, it's a redemption arc. He's kind of hit rock bottom, so to speak, and now he's lost to Swerve a couple of times. One time in the match that's supposed to be geared towards him. So now what happens going forward? So, in that sense, for me, Hangman has gotten real intriguing pretty quickly. Keeping him next to Swerve will always be good. So, for me, the match was good. JD Drake, like you said, good worker. Another Willie Mack kind of guy, just, in a different form. But this was more so about Hangman Page and keeping him hot to hopefully intercept either Samoa Joe or Swerve Part 3.
We had Deonna Purrazzo tap out Red Velvet, and Hook tapped out Kevin Matthews.
I was about to say, if you could come up with that name, you are a better person than me. I just wrote enhancement.
Yep. I only had it because I got it here on the website. Otherwise, I would have said some guy. And then, just like every collision, we had FTR finish it up in the main event with the 25-minute tag match. This time they had Daniel Garcia with them, and they were facing the House of Black, and it was pretty damn good. That's about all I can say about it, though. But they were House of Black ended up winning with a distraction finish there, but so that was something.
Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. I was about to say, I obviously got to iron that shit. For me, this was like, I was like, these are two teams, and obviously House of Black has worn the AEW's trio titles. Then it was like, damn, now they're kind of back together. I wouldn't mind seeing them, have another run with the shit. But more so for like FTR and Daniel Garcia, if you want to try to really get Daniel Garcia over as a babyface now, this is a great way to position him next to FTR, who's over AF. You know what I'm saying? Matt Menard is who it is. You know what I'm saying? Him getting dropped as, post-match kind of gives him the sympathetic figure look. If you like him, great. If not, so be it. That's neither here nor there. The three guys that you're supposed to feel sympathy for was obviously FTR and Daniel Garcia. So for that point, the match was good. I just think everything post-match made it a little more interesting because now it's more so they feel more sympathetic than ever before. Yeah, they bounced was Buddy Matthews around or whatever. I think it was. Anyway, ultimately it doesn't matter. I just think that Garcia and FTR together have a little chemistry in the ring, and you got something to go forward to if you want to go that route.
Danny Garcia is actually wrestles quite a bit like those guys. I mean, they are, they are symbiotic that way. I can feel myself changing. I can feel my body and my mind and my soul and my spirit. I can feel it morphing into
Jesus.
A Matt Menard mark.
What? The fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know what's happening to me.
Oh man, hell no! After all this shit,
he's really good on commentary.
After all this shit you've been talking about, this dude, Vikingo, and now Matt Menard.
Yeah,
dude, who are you?
I feel like Michael J. Fox looking in the mirror in Teen Wolf, like.
That's amazing.
His dad standing outside the bathroom. Scott? Scott?
Okay. They'll say, don't open the door.
I don't think you should see me like this, Dad.
I'm washing my hands, damn it. I've never had a problem with Matt Menard. I'm very so. Why are you now becoming a fan again? You like him on commentary?
I think he's pretty good on commentary, and it kind of makes me see him differently. And when he came in kind of as the baby face at the end of this match, I was into it.
You got mad when he got yacked in the mouth?
I did.
Mark.
He seems like a really nice guy.
Unbelievable. 3 Beer, come get your boy, man. He's gone off the deep end. What the fuck is going on?
Bill's going to start fucking shopping at Menards now.
You just gave me
your matches at Menards.
You're planting some seeds for next week's AKA.
Right? You Menard.
Oh, shit. We went right into Battle of the Belts, and, I said it was skippable because there was no title changes, but this first match was actually pretty goddamn good. Absolute Ricky Starks and Big Bill versus Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara, and they had a goddamn street fight for the AEW championship, and this thing was all over the place. Super fun. They did some crazy spots. Big Bill and Jericho went through a table, and then Sammy went like 25 feet up some scaffolding and went through the goddamn floor.
Dude, you're a dad now. Chill out.
I know, right? And Hobbs pulled him out of the way and pulled Starks out of the way, and the Starks pinned him. But holy jeez, this was pretty fun stuff.
That was, to me, the biggest surprise. Hobbs coming out of nowhere and saving Ricky Starks, even though they have past beef. I'll wait. I'll reserve judgment to see what happens there. But when Sammy ran down Ricky Starks, where it's usually Sammy the one getting ran down, and now you had the tables reversed. Irony at its finest. Ricky with an amazing bump, But this was a Zach Pullman party spot fest, whatever you want to call it. If you want to see a match that encapsulates all of what Zach likes, this is the perfect match. So over the top at every point. It was not even painful to watch. It was just like, Jesus Christ, what's next? So
Yeah,
no,
I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that Starks and Bill retained.
yeah,
so.
ultimately, that's all I'm worried about, that the right team went over. You know,
Yeah,
you
it
can
was
be
fun.
over the top as you wanted to, as long as the team that should go over went over. So
Then we had, I don't know if they were just doing it kind of as a nod to Brody Lee because the anniversary of his passing was fairly recently. But they had Julia Hart was defending against Anna Jay, and then Orange Cassidy defended against Preston Vance. And neither of them won, and neither were expected to win. But the matches themselves were totally fine.
Don't forget Serena Deeb vignette back of the house at Applebee's in the walk-in, which was pretty cool. That she was able to do that on her smoke break.
you ain't shit. God damn.
She had
dog.
dropped a couple checks. She had the time.
Oh, shit.
Serena Deeb, getting her workout in. Ah, shit. What's this in my arm? Fuck. Shrapnel BFR.
Hey, Mackenzie, watch table 31 for me. I'm going to go cut a vignette in the walk-in.
You ain't shit.
I dropped checks at 21 and 12. Let me know if I get seated.
Dude, my head's about to explode because
Let me know if fucking Mackenzie double seats me again.
if you've ever waited tables or worked in a restaurant, you could totally understand that conversation. That's amazingly fucking funny. Great job, but damn you ain't shit. I like Serena Deeb. I'm just worried about
I do
what
too. I made that one joke that one time about her being a waitress at Applebee's. It's a fun bit.
No, look, I'm not saying
I
that.
didn't call her Viscera.
God damn.
Yeah, no. A bunch of people were talking shit, or they were body shaming Dion and Perazzo this week.
Right.
And I was like, man, fucking assholes, body shaming. And I was like, wait a minute, I did call Keith Lee Viscera last week. You look great, Keith.
I was saying, my man going off for 2 surgeries and shit. You over here just taking them with shrapnel. Give him
Bask in your glory.
Yeah, I was about to say, take the shrapnel out while you're in there, boss man. It is what it is. I wasn't too impressed with. Well, I shouldn't say that. Anna Jay and Preston Vance are fine. It just, you knew what was going to happen, and that is what it is. I think Anna Jay is somebody that could, would be like a TNT or TBS champion, maybe somewhere down the line if you just gave her time and booked her right. But these two, like I agree with Zach on this. This was more so about Brody Lee than either of these two being built up to a point where it feels like they should have been in this spot. So, Battle of the Belts 9, 1 in 27, 28, whatever it is. I mean, goddamn, can somebody else besides Sammy win, for Christ's sake? What the fuck?
Give it a rating. No,
F.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Grade it.
Serena Deeb gives it 2 drags of a Virginia Slim.
God damn. God damn, stop.
Nah, she's one of those old schools that still smokes parliaments.
See what you did, 3 Beer? See this shit? Stop encouraging this motherfucker, man. Stop.
Great hypothetical. What kind of cigarette does Serena Deeb smoke?
I'm going cool.
You know
Cool
what's
Miles.
really funny?
Nah. What I bees?
I always make that joke about Eddie Kingston smoking Newports. So I finished John Moxley's book, and he's like, so I run into Eddie, who's standing outside smoking a Newport. I was like, oh my god,
Really?
yeah, it was confirmed. in John
Oh, that
Moxley's
is
book.
perfect. How did you just now bring that up?
Holy shit.
I just finished the book like last week. So
Oh,
I
my
was reading
God,
real
that's
slow.
amazing.
That is incredible.
Oh, Jesus Christ almighty. The 3 Beer, I said it earlier tonight. You don't miss, motherfucker. That's amazingly fucking funny. And you clearly didn't know that he smokes Newports. I got to have a Newport in that moment. That's amazing.
Eddie Kingston looks like he works in a bodega that sells a really good chopped cheese.
Stop, dude. Come on.
What can I get for you?
Serena Deeb looks like a cocktail waitress on an oil rig.
Dude, you
That's a
motherfuckers
bad
ain't
joke.
shit.
Whose joke is that?
was on Dustin's show.
Oh, god damn, that's good.
You are
It stuck with me for so many years. It's so good. Anyway, yeah.
Off. You two motherfuckers ain't shit.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a lot. Sorry. All right. So, we opened Dynamite with a fantastic fucking match. Christian Cage versus Dustin Rhodes. And these brothers are just two old school professional wrestling brothers. And they had a old school professional wrestling match. And I fucking loved it. And obviously Dustin didn't win because he's not gonna. But he did kick out of a kill switch, and it really popped the crowd. And there were some moments where got near fall and stuff, but it was overall a very fun match with an expectant ending.
Yeah, man, I fucking love this. This was the crowd was really great, and they told a really fun story. They really, I don't think that I ever thought that Dustin was going to win, but man, it was fun. It was fun.
No, you knew Dustin wasn't going to win. It was just, what was the story they were going to tell, and this was more of the fact of Dustin just, fighting hard to try to win the TNT title, kicking out of the kill switch, that was, like, oh, at least, that was the hope spot, like you like to call it, or whatever the case may be. Outside of that, it was a good match. Don't get me wrong. It was nothing wrong with the match. You just knew what the finish was. Ultimately, it was just how you're going to get there. Dustin having to fight off three guys to get to the point where he could have won, just didn't win. Christian Cage pulls out some fuckery and gets the dub. No, nothing wrong with that. Christian Cage shouldn't have lost to begin with, but that's another story for another time.
Yeah, Swerve wasn't wrestling on this show, but he did cut a promo backstage with Renee, basically saying he's got his eyes on Samoa Joe, he's got his eyes on the main event, not worried about Hangman Page. But good promo. I mean, still just coming off like a star. It seems like they're gearing towards Swerve, Hangman, Joe three-way, which I think is very smart because it gets that, aspect of they can kind of, you can have that match, and not only will it be awesome because all three guys are awesome, but those two will kind of be almost more worried about each other than they will about the eye on the prize, and allow Joe to kind of sneak away with a win instead of, we're talking about strike with the iron tot with Swerve. That kind of delays that a little bit, but it still leaves opportunity for him to get another match down the road. So anyway, what do you guys think? Great
promo by Swerve backstage. He's a very smart, methodical character. I like it. I'm totally cool if they end up going triple threat on this, and not just in the not just in the Bill Loves three ways type of way, but in the I think that, like Zach said, there's a lot of fun dynamics there, especially with Joe being the champion that he is. He's just really fucking compelling, and I don't know what they're gonna do, and it's exciting.
It's a good problem to have because that means you got talent at the top of the card, and that's not a bad thing, obviously. The triple threat kind of feels like it makes the most sense. You don't want to kind of crush one or the other. If it was just a singles match, Joe versus Swerve, whoever was facing Joe right now, if it was a singles match, probably is going to lose. At least in this scenario, it feels like it's a little more intrigue. How do we get there in this scenario?
Oh, it's not like I wouldn't even consider Joe to be a massive favorite.
I would in a triple threat. I wouldn't either because now
I'm talking shoot style, like the way they book it.
Okay, completely fair. I don't have a problem with that either. I'm not a huge fan of the triple threat, but as the story progresses, I'm more and more getting on board with it as we get closer to what it feels like will be the Revolution main event as the triple threat: Joe, Swerve, and Hangman Page.
Would you be more into the triple threat if we called it a threesome?
I'm gonna leave that one alone. Answer: no.
I'm gonna be real with you. Yes.
He's comfortable in his. I'm just kind of like, I'm seeing some bad visuals. I'm gonna go with no. What? Head tilted to the right.
Backstage, and Matt Sydal challenges him, so we're gonna have that match on Rampage. There was a nice little moment there where Jericho said, "Yeah, I respect you as a wrestler." Said, "Oh, some people even say maybe you're born to do this." Got Renee a little smile, but yeah, rooting for Seidel as a St. Louis boy, but he's gonna lose to Jericho.
Probably.
Probably be a good match though.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta versus Commander and Pentel Zero. That's a very fun match. A lot of this was mostly about Undisputed Kingdom, though. They came down to watch, and that seems like the idea is to build up this AEW International Championship match between Roderick Strong and Orange Cassidy, which they announced for Revolution, I guess, and that's a ways away.
Yeah.
About 6 weeks away.
6 weeks.
So.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, dog, just couldn't hold your load. What the fuck?
Which is good, because normally they've been doing the thing where they haven't been like announcing stuff they've been doing it like hey, it's 2 weeks out, we don't really have, so, it's almost like they kind of went back, back and forth, so.
I was thinking at the end of this match that Trent Beretta, I just got it in my head. It's like, man, Trent Beretta should attack Orange Cassidy
Dude,
right
I was
here.
waiting for it. I was so waiting for it. You stole my fucking thunder.
Is that just us, or were they kind of teasing it?
I think they were teasing it on commentary, and the way Trent was acting in ring was heelish.
Man, if he just would have leveled Orange Cassidy right there, and then joined Undisputed Kingdom.
Dude, we are on the same. I was so waiting for that. I was like, okay, so Trent's kind of hiding behind.
Man, Trent Beretta as a
Cassidy.
heel. Trent Beretta as a heel. You have my attention.
It's something. It's not, and I'm not saying it would do him a world of good, but I think we've exhausted Trent Beretta in this current form.
Long time ago.
Right, so we had Adam Page backstage with Renee. Again, just another promo in the vein of the Swerve promo earlier, referencing each other, but really focusing on Samoa Joe. This was pretty good. I liked where he was going. He tried to sound real cool by saying, Swerve seems to think about me a lot. I don't think about him at all. We all know that's not true, Adam.
Shit, in his head. If he didn't say it, then you wouldn't have mattered.
Tell you what, if a dude broke into my house,
okay,
cut a promo over my kid's bed,
okay,
and his best friend ate my wife's blueberries,
okay,
I'm going to be thinking about him
all day and day.
You got it, motherfucker. You are in my head.
Okay, you might as well sit down and help me with this.
My
mortgage.
lifestyle is changing because of you.
Is blueberries a euphemism?
No, motherfucker, he's not. It was over there banging up the blueberries, licking his.
He never eat another man's blueberries.
Licking his fingers and shit, man. That was the promo. That should have been promo of the year, right? No, that was more of a segment than anything else, but still, nonetheless, you get my point.
We had the best thing on the show, which is Mark Briscoe walked out, and it was 1 year since his brother had died in a car accident, and he got this promo, and I was like, oh man, I can't believe it's been a year, and and he's cutting it, and I'm like, man, he's always been very well put together, like throughout this whole thing, like. I'm not a religious person. He seems to have like a lot of faith. Seems to be a real like Christian dude, and it seems like it's really helped him. Because even like the Jay Briscoe tribute show, he was like everybody was like tore up, and he's out there, just like celebrating his brother. And anyway, he's says tragically 1 year ago tonight, my brother passed in a car accident. My nieces were in the truck with him, and they told my oldest niece she'll never walk again. And I'm just like, dude, I just start like tearing up. Like I'm just watching this. I'm like working, and I just had to like stop working, and I'm just like fully like tears welling up. And then he says, however, bring out these kids, and these kids walk out. I'm sure that there's pain. I'm sure that there's been a long road, but man. They didn't look like anything was wrong with them. And I saw some x-rays from whenever that happened. And that girl's back was completely fucked. It's amazing that she's walking, let alone looking like she does. And, man, that was just a really beautiful thing. And then they had a tribute package there, and man, those girls got a big pop, and it was cool.
Yeah, you gotta put a trigger warning on that for a guy like me as a father of a daughter. No, this was very touching. Incredible, and like Zach said, it was the most emotion that Briscoe has shown this whole time, which is saying something. But this was awesome. Genuinely feel good.
Yeah,
as the father of a daughter.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought about, was that this is the first time that Briscoe has shown any kind of emotion, really, where you can see it on his face, you can hear it in his voice, where it was starting to overtake him in certain spots. So just in the sense of a tribute moment, that definitely stands out. Obviously, the kids coming out and his niece being able to walk again is something that, you know, it felt like somebody was cutting onions in the apartment and shit. You know, you had your boy over here kind of boohooing like a motherfucker. So it was one of the spots, like you said, I wish somebody would have told me that it was coming up, because that way I'd have got my shelf ready. But it was an amazing moment. I'm glad that, you know, unfortunately Jay's not here, but his daughters are here and upright and walking and healthy. So, you know, there's something to be taken away from that.
As a journalist, I'm supposed to be watching these shows objectively, you know, not let my emotion play into it. So I was fine.
Look at you, stone cold motherfucker.
And then did like a total rubber band here, where I went from like in tears to laughing in tears, because we had Renee Paquette with the Young Bucks backstage, and holy shit, there's the best Young Bucks are heel Young Bucks. Amen. And we are getting full on heel Young Bucks. They cut her off whenever she's introducing them, and says, "Can you show us some respect and call us by our God-given names, Nicholas and Matthew?" I'm just like, oh man.
Oh yeah. I was like, oh, now we're talking.
they're like leaning into the EVP thing, and they're saying like, you know, speaking of there being a company around, you got your paycheck this week, right? You're welcome. And then they go on and they start talking about Sting, and they say, you know, whenever they started this, they're talking about changing the world. And then somewhere along the way, they lost their way. The culture shifted. Toxicity crept into the locker room. Things are different. It's like they started to lean on yesterday's self-serving, cancerous superstars. And you mentioned Sting, but Sting's none of those things. Sting's great. But which I thought was lovely. But even though they're so heels, they still can't say anything bad about Sting. But they're like, Sting represents those stars of yesterday, and he's the last of a dying breed. And unfortunately for him, we're going to have to say goodbye to Sting and to everybody like Sting. And then he says, like he's like some kind of great leader, like, we'd never ask anybody to do anything that we wouldn't do ourselves.
I'm like, motherfucker, what?
So I thought this was great. I also think that like this is like the perfect gimmick for them, because they should be leaning into this EVP thing. People want to hate them anyway. You know, like deservedly or undeservedly. They get like both sides. Like people just want to hate them. They're very polarizing. So just leaning into it is great. And you know, if they're going to go and start retiring, like please do the Hardys next, and then you can give Edge and Christian some time to work out their thing, and then they can retire them too. You know, like God they can just like. I'm just saying, like it's a fun gimmick, like to be like the legend killers.
I was just getting ready to say, man, Randy Orton gonna come for your ass here in a little bit. You stealing his motherfucking gimmick and giving it to the Bucks and shit.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I love the segment. The heel Bucks are the best Bucks, but I do agree with Bill. This should have happened a while ago. They should have been, as soon as the last fight happened, or better yet, the fight that the poor dog got the teeth knocked out of. They should have just immediately came out and just leaned into this motherfucker like dog. Nobody's business.
Wasn't that dog's fault?
Nope, the dog just in the wrong place, wrong time. This was a good segment. I liked it. I mean, it made me laugh just because the heel Bucks to me are just more entertaining, easy to hate. I like the Bucks as a team itself. In ring,
you can't tell them apart now, can you?
Yes,
I can't tell them apart.
God.
Jesus,
I feel like we're back to the beginning.
Of course you do.
They have the exact same mustaches now.
Yeah, I cannot believe. I
can't believe they're not twins.
I'm not going to have this conversation with you right now. I'm just not. I like the segment. I can't wait to see what happens. Obviously, if the Bucks lose to
exactly the same
to Sting and Darby, it's no skin off the Bucks' backs. They'll be fine. Now I'm just curious to see how they build this match and then see the match itself.
I bet they'll fight backstage about who's going to do the job. I bet like they're going to want to lay down for Sting, and Sting's going to want to lay down for them, and it's going to be like a whole thing.
No, I was about to say Sting's got to go over. There's no way. I hear what you're saying. Sting's going to want to.
Sting's got to go over.
Yeah, however you want to do it.
I would book him. I would book him to go over for sure.
Yeah.
Now, who wins between Sting and Flair in 10 years?
Oh man, stop.
That's up for debate.
No, stop.
I could see either one of them going over.
Okay, see, case in point. Now,
the insurance company.
After Sting goes away, what do you do with Ric Flair? I mean, no Andrade, no Sting.
Put the belt on him.
Yeah, dude, shut the fuck up, man. God damn it, I hate you sometimes. Go ahead, 3-meter.
He's only there to promote his energy drink, so.
Christian should say something to him about how his dad's been dead since 1980 or something. Too bad your dad's not around to see this. He'd be 108.
Man, dude,
So,
stop.
Flair's a black market baby too. You know that?
I did.
That's wild as hell.
That's some fucking good Christian fodder there, man. Christian going in on Ric Flair just every week. He can just pick a year, and they can do 52 weeks of it, and just like he'll be like, so he can just pick a year and just rail on him for whatever he did that year. That was inappropriate.
Man, okay, enough.
Be a fun podcast series.
Look, all right, God damn it, that's gonna be enough Ric Flair slander. All right, as the one Ric Flair fan
Best
around
ever
here,
do
say stop that shit.
The best to ever do.
Call it 52 weeks. So then we had the title change. Bullet Club Gold came out with new music, which also the Guns already had a banger song. Switchblade already had a banger song, and then they just made it another awesome song. They have great entrance music.
I still haven't heard it, but I was kind of like, okay, I think I like it. I just haven't heard it yet.
I haven't listened to it not on the show. I want to give it a listen, but yeah, I mean this match is fine. It was really about getting the belt on them because of the whole acclaimed Daddy Ass. Came out to salute them, and then, as Excalibur said, we might see the genesis of the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. So I don't know if I love that as much as I would like them to wrestle and just unify those trios titles. With the Bang Bang Gang taking the ones off of the Acclaimed and then unifying.
Yeah, I kind of forget. Sometimes I forget that there's two sets of those titles.
Yeah, it's easy to forget. I mean, in storyline, the Acclaimed got beat down by the Undisputed Kingdom, thrown through the windows, and then they disappeared for a length of time, which that's what's supposed to happen.
Well, then they really cooled him off with that dumb thing with Max Caster being obsessed with MJF. Didn't work at all.
I can't say I disagree.
Really kind of killed it.
I think there's them as the trio's champions. I think it kind of hurts them too. Nobody really wants to see, and it's not a knock against Daddy Ass by all means. Billy Gunn is way more in shape than I hope to ever will be, but it's really more so about the Acclaimed, and they're not going after the one thing that kind of makes them the Acclaimed. They're not going after the tag titles. I mean, this is a complimentary prize at best. Not what you really want to see. So it is what it is. I'm not sure I want to see the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. I mean, I like the name, but it feels forced. Like I said, I get it. In storyline, I get it. I just don't.
They should get Keith Lee too and call it Bang Bang Scissor Gang in our glory.
Oh Jesus fucking Christ! See, you just can't leave shit alone, motherfucker. Damn. I mean, what was that, 10 minutes that you gave Keith Lee a reprieve? What the fuck, dude? God damn. I was saying,
I'm making fun of the name.
Poor Mia Yim is over there why is there still shrapnel coming through the living room?
Oh, man, Bill insulting Keith Lee is on an interval of Keith Lee walking upstairs. It's every 10 minutes you got to stop at the landing. Every time he gets on the set, he's got to stop at the landing for 10 minutes. And then that's when Bill hits him with another one.
Dude, stop. Don't encourage this motherfucker, please.
Can you imagine though, like, if somebody like came up to you like in a weird kind of like dystopian game show situation, like, hey, if you can beat up the 60-year-old man named Kip Sop, you can beat him. You can just beat him in a fight. I'll give you $5 million, and you're like, yeah, bring that motherfucker around. Right. And it comes out. This dude's like 6'7", he's like 275.
Yeah, I mean, he looks incredible.
Yo, shit. It's like, you know what? I take back everything I said. That checks you, brother. Kip Sop, your name? Let me write that in this check for you. Just get this out the way.
He's like, just call me Monty. But Adam Cole and Wardlow got a thing backstage promo. Basically, just Adam Cole talking up Wardlow. Seemed disingenuous, just because Adam Cole's a heel and Wardlow doesn't have any momentum.
No, he just like, keep talking, nigga. Yeah, I'm gonna give you the belt, right? Right.
Yeah.
Deonna Purrazzo versus Anna Jay, but the real story here, Deonna got a win, but Toni Storm's on commentary, and man, she was on another level this time. She was on commentary with Ian Riccaboni, but she just kept calling him like Tony Schiavone and talking about how he got younger and lost weight.
Oh, my God.
Man, it killed me. But yeah, Deonna cut a promo on Tony, and then Tony cut one on her that was way better. Where she says, technically speaking, you're an artificially tanned hack.
Dude.
She says, I have to march right in that ring and sock you right in the box.
Yeah, man. She says some dirty shit.
Dude, Toni Storm be on one, man. I'm like, what the fuck?
Sock you right in the box.
I'm like, how the fuck does she get away with this, number one? And number two, as a Deonna Purrazzo fan, she is one of the best in the ring as a woman, as a man. I don't give a rat's ass who it is.
And Bo Geisman would be bouncing off the walls right now if he was here. We were talking about Toni Storm talking about boxes.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, this would be...
I see you, Bo. Yeah. I'll see you. We'll see you next week.
But the
Devil
one...
you.
Yeah, no shit. The one thing that Deonna can't do is talk. Right then, after the post match, and they started to talk, I started to shake my head. I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, this is not going to end well," and it didn't. And that's the one thing I worry about with people that don't know who Deonna Purrazzo is. Can she translate what she does in ring into a character that people can invest in? Everybody loves Toni Storm. I mean, there's very few people that I'll go that far. There's very few people I know that don't like the Toni Storm gimmick right now. And that is what it is. If it's 10 people, 8 of the 10 like Toni Storm. 2 don't. That's fine. As soon as they got to the point where it was talking, it felt like Swerve, Hangman Page the first time around. I was like, oh, God, this is going to get ugly. And it got ugly. So I don't know what you do from that point, but, you know, the match itself will be good. It's just Toni Storm's going to eat this girl up. They keep having her talk.
Yeah. Top Flight versus Private Party, which is interesting matchup because of the comparisons that you could draw between the teams, but didn't start out.
What are those comparisons?
Just like I mean, young up and coming tag teams. Like whenever AEW like first started,
this nigga stumble.
No, not at all. I mean, for real, portion. Like. They're both tag teams that, like, the Young Bucks had matches with, and after the match, they thought that they were, like, the fucking tag team of the future because the Young Bucks made them look so goddamn good. And it turned out they were pretty okay, but they were still pretty green. But it's been a few years, you know, but there's been some injuries on both sides. So there's a lot of comparability besides skin color, you surface area.
Well played, my brother.
They remind me of Harlem Heat.
Yeah. So anyway, these brothers.
God damn.
But yeah, it started out, and they weren't doing a lot of like the high flying stuff that you would expect from them. It was like a lot of mat work and stuff. But ended up like Mark Quinn also seemed like, you know, he's coming back from injury. He didn't seem as spry maybe as he had been in the past, or maybe he's just being a little bit more careful. But he did do some like over the top rope shit. He went like back and forth, like jumping over the top rope onto both top flight members. But basically rolled him up, and I really liked the way they played it. There's a roll up, and it looked like he lost his balance. Mark Quinn lost his balance, and so he grabbed the rope. But it also could be read that he grabbed the rope like for leverage. It was really well executed.
Well executed and a good idea.
Yep.
Jason, what do you think?
No, the match itself was pretty good, but the ending is, what we're all talking about, and it's, did he or didn't he? It's a good, way to keep both teams kind of connected to each other going forward. We'll see what happens. Top Flight is a heel team. I wouldn't necessarily mind seeing, but I agree with everything what Zach said. Trying to get out of the what is the similarities between the two teams. They're both teams that the Bucks ultimately put over, but injuries have kind of derailed their ascent to the top of the tag team division. So, in that scenario, it's cool to see them against each other. I'm sure they're going to run it back at some point. We'll see what happens.
And then we had the main event, Samoa Joe versus Hook. This was a very controversial main event, but really for those that were focused on Hook, really the story of this main event was Samoa Joe absolutely destroying a top-tier babyface. That was what this was about. It wasn't about, like, vaulting Hook to the main event level. It was about a guy that the fans are really behind, getting an opportunity for the biggest heel in the company and your number one guy to just fucking brutally destroy on live television. And man, he did that. There's a couple hope spots. He kicked out at one out of a muscle buster. But this was basically a really long squash, and it's exactly what Hook needed. Hook needs to learn to sell. I'm not saying that he's bad at it, but like his matches are often short matches that are squashes. So a lot of those wins are not competitive matches. And then he just needs, time on TV, getting beat up, selling, time in the spotlight. He got all of that. He ended up coming out better than he was before he went in. Both guys did. It was like, I thought this was brilliant, very well executed. And then at the end, it set up, like I said, that triple threat. Paige came out and, gave Hook a little bit of a, little bit of a rub by, calling him back into the ring. Anyway, what do you guys think?
This was really well executed. Reminded me of one of those good old 2013, 2014 Brock Lesnar matches, when Brock Lesnar would have like 6-minute matches that were just super hard hitting from the very beginning, and he would just dominate somebody for an entire match, basically. And like Zach said, both guys came out looking really good. Joe looks ruthless and unstoppable, and Hook looks like he's got heart. So this was really well executed, like I said. Also, the angle after, with Hangman showing up and Swerve showing up, and them just kind of looking at each other, Swerve saying, too, like, I beat you twice, and then Hook kind of refusing Hangman at the end, being like, no, I appreciate it, but I got this. I can walk up by myself. Really good stuff. Very fun to watch. Very fun to watch, and the crowd was into it. I loved it.
The two real big spots from Joe where I was just like, the biggest thing is just looking at the two guys. I'm just like, oof. Joe is just clearly a heavyweight champion. Hook, obviously has to put some, muscle mass on, look a little bigger. So to me, that was the first obvious difference between the two. Just the match itself, there was the two spots where I think Joe hit him with a clothesline or an elbow, and it was super stiff. It was pretty early in the match. I was just like, oh, god damn,
It's going to be like that.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, this is how we're going to do it. The second one was, I think it was the Uranagi on the table, whatever. I was just like, okay, see, that's baptism by fire. Joe felt like he was making a point to really lay some heavy hands, heavy blows on.
I really enjoyed Taz selling it like he couldn't watch. Also,
and, I got to put the headphones down or whatever. So that was a nice little sprinkle into the match itself. Taz is good on, dare I say, great on commentary, underrated on his commentary, but neither here nor there. Post match, I thought there was just enough of a tease where even though there's not a match to be announced yet, you still can kind of see where we're going. It's just how do we get there for this, eventual triple threat that I think we're going to have.
It's an interesting first story coming out of Joe's win.
Yeah.
Is Joe and Hangman and
couldn't beat
Swerve.
him with the muscle buster, so he had, I had to go ahead and choke your ass out. You made me choke you out. Basically, is what it boiled down to, and that's fine. Like you said, it gave Hook, a little more heart. A lot of his matches are squashes on the other end, so him getting quote unquote squashed here, I don't think it was necessarily a squash, but it was it was time for Hook to take an L. He just lost to the world heavyweight champion. There's no shame in that.
Okay. Anything else about AEW that we're forgetting? I think somebody grabbed Tony Khan's phone and didn't let him tweet this week. Let's get to that 3 count.
God damn, you ain't shit.
So the 3 count is going to be the rebranding of TNA, TNA's first pay-per-view. As rebranded as TNA, they were Impact Wrestling, and before that, they were TNA. And you know what their weekly show is going to be called now?
TNA Impact?
Impact, yeah, that's right.
Okay, see,
come on, guys.
I was going to say, I saw the hashtag.
That's
for
all
that.
they got?
Damn,
Fucking just
do TNA Wrestling. Just be done with it.
Well, speaking of things to call it, they called it Hard to Kill. And Zach made a joke on our text messages about the Steven Seagal movie. But I actually had this thought while I was watching the other night, is that I thought about the Steven Seagal movie too. And then I started thinking about all the Steven Seagal movies and how a lot of them would be good name for wrestling pay-per-views.
Marked for Death.
Marked for Death, Hard to Kill, Out for Justice, On Deadly Ground.
Nice.
Under Siege.
Easy. That's
That's pretty good.
I'm surprised that hasn't already been done before Steven Seagal
All right,
got
so
his hands
tonight
on
we got our TNA Under Siege recap. So, that flows off the tongue. Hey, that's a free one for you.
You're welcome.
TNA. Anyway, they had Hard to Kill.
That's amazing.
And so, at the risk of disappointing all the 6-sided ring heads out there, that's what they're called, the TNA heads.
Is that what they call
6-sided ring heads.
All right.
We'll talk about some of the matches individually, but I think we need to talk about the big idea, which the big idea is people were talking about this pay-per-view this weekend. People were into it. The big thing that happened at the end was Alex Shelley loses to Moose. Moose is your new TNA heavyweight champion, and then Nic Nemeth makes his appearance, and he super kicks Moose. So Dolph Ziggler, or FKA Dolph Ziggler, Nic Nemeth, is in TNA Impact, or in TNA now, and New Japan. So, what did you think about the pay-per-view first and foremost, and what you think about the ending, Jason?
The ending, I'll start with the ending first. A little surprised that Alex Shelley lost to Moose, but apparently Moose dropped 25 pounds to get in shape for this rebranding, so that should have probably been the cue right there that he might have won the title. I thought the match was really good. Nice back and forth. Big man, little man match. Nic Nemeth as the surprise, surprise entrance, surprise, whatever you want to call it, in lack of a better term. Didn't think of him as somebody that would be the surprise signing. I guess that's the word I'm looking for TNA. I don't think he's a New Japan guy per se. I think this is someone that Nick is using New Japan. New Japan is using Nick to both get themselves over. Just long term for TNA and Nic Nemeth, I think this was a perfect landing spot. I think Mustafa Ali should be considered in this spot as well. It's a place where both guys, we'll just stick with Nic Nemeth for this one, can flourish their creative styles, however you want to do it. This, whatever you wanted to do in WWE that was shut down, you could probably be able to do it in TNA because they made their way to go get him. It was not like if they fell into the lap. I'm sure they wooed Nic Nemeth over to TNA, so he'll have some leeway for his character, whatever that character may be. Going after Moose right away, that's a pretty good start. So for me, the match itself, like I said, good, but the surprise signing for TNA, I think is a nice. It will be a nice little marriage because I think Nic Nemeth is great in ring. You'll get to see more of his character outside the ring. I think this will be a nice little marriage, so to speak.
Zach, what do you think about Nic Nemeth showing up in TNA?
I only watched half of Hard to Kill, but maybe there was like some exit wounds with Nic Nemeth in WWE. It seems like now maybe he's in TNA, like out for justice. Maybe thinking he's like above the law or something. I don't know. Seems like Moose is on deadly ground and Mark's for death.
Meanwhile, Nic Nemeth is out for a kill.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Oh,
put the Wikipedia down, man. I was about to say, y'all motherfuckers, put the Wikipedia down. I know you don't know all these goddamn Steven Seagal movies.
Moose won, and the next day was a Black Dawn.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, Nic Nemeth is the foreigner, coming in. Pretty good.
Oh, Kill Switch.
What the fuck? Kill Switch? Seriously?
It's a movie called Kill Switch.
Jungle Taurus for TNA confirmed.
Force of Execution.
Unfucking believable.
Born to Raise Hell. These are all good. Code of Honor. That actually is one.
Somewhere Tony Khan's like, God damn it, he made a movie called what?
I think it's a good move. I mean, it's good for TNA. And I imagine I'm sure he got a good welcome. Like the crowd probably really popped whenever he showed up.
It was a hot crowd. It was a good crowd.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's like a signing or it's just like doing some dates, kind of like with New Japan, whatever it is, like it's good.
Yeah, I'm psyched about it. I'm not psyched that I have to start watching more wrestling every week, but I do want to see what happens with Dolph Ziggler because I'm a Dolph Ziggler mark. I am.
Yeah, there is just way too much wrestling.
Maybe I can skip Collision though.
No, Rampage is the one.
Motherfucker, I skip Rampage.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the next one getting knocked off. This week I had to watch Hard to Kill. But, we had some crazy good matches, though. We had Vikingo, Kushida, and Chris Sabin, which was a super fun match. Did you get to see this one? Did you make it to this match, Zach?
That was the last one I saw, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it fucking ruled. It was exactly what you wanted it to be. What you think of this, Jason?
No, it's a nice little, I guess, for lack of a term, party match. I keep forgetting that Kushida signed with TNA when they the commentary said that. I was like, oh yeah. I mean, quiet as it's kept, TNA has got a nice little roster with names that you've heard before, some guys you haven't, and guys like Nic Nemeth coming in to kind of boost the top of the card. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works.
What do you think of Jordan Grace going over Trinity?
Not a huge surprise. I don't know if this signals her going back to her being Naomi / Trinity. That signals her going back to WWE. But Jordan Grace was built up to where now it almost kind of felt like this was going to happen. It almost feels like Trinity's reign was a little cut short, but they did, put her over with Deonna Purrazzo with her going on the way out the door. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it, but I'll be curious to see what happens to Trinity going forward. I guess that was the bigger point.
You know what match I loved was Josh Alexander defeating Alex Hammerstone. I'll be honest, I know that Josh Alexander rules. Every time I watch a match with him, though, I'm surprised all over again. This match was really fun, and I guess I don't know much about Alex Hammerstone. I know that he was MLW champion for a while, right?
Yeah.
But is he... What is... how do people think of him work rate wise?
As far as I was concerned...
Go ahead.
Go, Zach. I was going to say, I've talked plenty tonight. Go right ahead.
No, I think he's a pretty good worker. He's got a good look and good size, but I think he's not carrying anybody to a good match. Does that make sense?
Yep, that does make sense. That match was fucking awesome, though. Super hot crowd, mega fun match.
It's one of those matches where you never thought you would see it, and now it actually just kind of fell in your lap because Hammerstone's out of MLW. I'll be curious to see where he lands. Wherever it possibly will be. I like Hammerstone. I've always liked him. He's helped MLW get to this point. If you didn't watch MLW, he was that Richard Holiday and MJF were a faction at one point. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but there's opportunity for him being heel, face, whatever he wants to do. So no, this match was good. Like I said, it's kind of fell into my lap. And
you know who I like? Dirty Dango.
I was thinking of you whenever I saw it.
Every time I see that motherfucker, I think, God damn, he pinned Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. That's fucking crazy.
Should have squashed him.
I don't know about that.
If I'm gonna go to a TNA live event, and I'm gonna hold up a sign that says "Push Dango." He's one of my guys.
Dango is his heel gimmick in TNA is easy to hate.
I'll tell you what. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead. His heel gimmick in TNA is easy to hate.
Very.
Yes, he's really good at it.
No, without question. Go ahead, 3-Bear. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I didn't even know he was in Impact, but it was a pleasant surprise. There was a lot of people that I did not know were on Impact. Like, I'm watching this because I only watch the pay-per-views, and I don't watch all of them. And I'm just like, oh shit, like Santino Marella. Like, I never even watched WWE.
I did not know Santino Marella was in TNA either.
Well, he's been in there for a while. He's obviously the authority figure or whatever, and it's Santino. Just imagine Santino Marella being the GM of WWE. And you can see how just over the top it is. And he comes out, and I'm not even a huge Santino Marella fan. He comes out and just butchers motherfuckers' names, all this shit. But he ultimately plays the role of the authority figure so well that I don't mind seeing him come out and just butcher this shit up, act a fool, and then walk off. So I mean, in that scenario, he fits the TNA Impact model really well.
This PCO motherfucker, I was entranced by him. I went on a deep dive on his Wikipedia. That motherfucker's been around forever.
Oh, yeah. Jacques
Rougeau. I did not know that was Jacques Rougeau. My eyes about bulged on my head. I was like, who is this dude?
Dude, he had a run in ROH a few years ago that was insane. He still does a lot of that stuff, but like, he was going so hard in ROH a few years ago. Like, I mean, doing like Darby Allin shit. Right. He's like a 55-year-old dude with like.
Every time he does the moonsault onto, well, I shouldn't say the moonsault, it's more of a senton, coming off the top onto somebody, and that somebody moves and he hits the side of the ring, I cringe every
I'm getting some PCO gear.
That motherfucker is way better than me. I can't even imagine doing no shit like that.
Born in 1967.
Him and Steve Macklin had I think it was a no DQ match last year. I mean, Steve Macklin dumped buckets. I remember what I was talking about. I can't think of the name of the pay-per-view or whatever, but that right there should have just been the indicator of that, how crazy this motherfucker is. Yeah, PCO was
it Under Siege 2?
No, it was not Under Siege 2. Jesus fucking Christ.
Easy question, hard answer. Is TNA back?
I never thought they were gone, to be perfectly honest. And I watch the show weekly, so I mean, this is a guy that, actually watches the product.
So you do 2 podcasts about wrestling, but neither one of them talks about TNA, and you watch it anyway?
Yeah. I'm a mark.
That is...
I need help.
It's tremendous.
I need a woman. No, honestly, if it wasn't for AEW, TNA would be where AEW is. But it would just be a further gap between WWE and TNA. AEW's in that middle spot. I'll let you decide how big the gap is.
Is TNA back?
I was never a guy that ever watched TNA ever. So I left wrestling whenever it started, kind of. Like, I was like, right when it started, it was like kind of going, but I was like tuned out basically. And then so like the only shit that I've ever watched is like stuff that was on Pluto TV or any of the new stuff since we've been doing the podcast. So I missed all the Kurt Angles, Mojo, AJ Styles. So I don't even know. Based on what I'm saying,
Kurt Angle's best run.
Question.
Yeah, Kurt Angle had that run too against Jeff Jarrett about their real life shared wife, and that thing lasted forever.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long
Jeff Jarrett, the current Texas Chainsaw Massacre champion.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, in a long lineage.
Holy shit! I
totally we talk about Roman Reigns. That belt hasn't even been mentioned. It's been what, half a year?
That's a really good point. Really good point. That's going to do it for our 3 count.
I totally forgot about that.
Okay, so we made through the 3 count. Didn't talk any WWE, but we will here. So let's lead off with Seth Rollins versus Jinder Mahal in the main event on Monday Night Raw. Jason, what did you think about this match?
Difference just looking between the two, where you see Jinder and Seth versus Hook and Joe. You could at least say that's, as much as you hate Jinder looks like he should be in the same ring. The fuckery wasn't unexpected because obviously in the sheer coming down to the ring, you just kind of waited to see what was going to happen. Drew cutting off Priest kind of is what it is, sets up their match for next week. This was a pretty good main event. I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't expecting Seth to win. It's just how we got there. A little overbooked, but neither here nor there. The right guy went over. I was entertained. That's all you can really ask for at that point, especially considering the 2 people in the ring.
They had to do all the Drew and Damian stuff because, I mean, even Seth can't carry Jinder to a good match.
Damn.
He fucking hurt his knee trying.
Ooh.
Jeez,
yeah, I mean, kind of did. The only thing coming out of this match that I can think is it went down exactly how I expected, except we always talk about them cashing in the briefcase too soon. Well, we're here. They've waited too long.
Yeah,
they did wait too long.
Time to cash that motherfucker in.
Yeah, I was going to say this. I said it last week. I thought this was the spot to do it, and they didn't. I agree with you guys. Now it's getting to the point where I'm kind of like, okay, when the fuck are we going to do this shit? Because now we're literally like 5 months away from having to do this all over again.
Yeah.
That's you.
I forgot. So I'm just trying to go through here. Looks like Becky Lynch comes out and she interrupts Ripley's promo. Ripley versus Becky Lynch. That could be a WrestleMania match for me. I'd be cool with that. What do you think, Zach?
It seems like the biggest match that you could make for the women's division in the company, really.
Not Bianca?
I mean, just for big, Becky's just a bigger star. I mean, Bianca's fantastic, and she is a star, but Becky's Becky. So if you want to
just play devil's advocate.
No, I'm with you. I think both are phenomenal choices. Both are going to put on a big match. But if I'm thinking like, if I'm a wrestling promoter and I'm like, all right, I got my biggest women's star now, and like I want to make the biggest match that I can, it would be Becky.
Do you think if Charlotte was healthy, was this going to be her spot? You think they would have ran it back?
I don't think so because they did it last year. I think I think they would still do Becky and her, and I think Charlotte would challenge for the other belt, or Bianca would, and Charlotte just wouldn't even be on the show. She'd be in Mexico, or whatever.
Whoa. Whatever,
there's Horny Thursday where you could tell me
Ludwig Kaiser. He was my favorite wrestler on tonight's show because he beat up Xavier Woods. What do you think about this, Jason?
Dude, as soon as Xavier came out, I was like, somewhere Bill is smiling because he should know how this is going to.
I wasn't smiling when Xavier Woods was cutting that fucking promo. God,
I'm sure you weren't. There was a lot of just promos or vignettes in this case. There was a lot of Ludwig Kaiser vignettes, even though he and Giovanni Vinci were a tag team. It was you randomly see these vignettes just pushing Ludwig Kaiser. So unfortunately, Giovanni Vinci getting hurt
Kaiser cook
has opened the door for Ludwig Kaiser to have this little heel run that he's getting ready to get on. Gunther hugging him, is basically the ultimate symbol of appreciation from the guy he looks up to. So yeah. Yeah, I'm expecting somewhat of a Ludwig Kaiser push-ish of some sort going forward. Not winning the Royal Rumble, but definitely, beating up on New Day going forward.
Does Ludwig Kaiser have a singles match at WrestleMania?
No.
No, I don't think so.
No
either.
way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Zach, what you think?
About what? Sorry, just about this segment?
Yeah. Did I already ask you what you think?
No.
No. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any strong feelings about it. I think it's time to get somebody a rub and get that title off of Gunther. Like, the only reason you break a record is then to, transition that to somebody else. Right. And just like we said, like, everybody in that company except Logan Paul has had their belts too long.
Yes. The Raw started off with Cody and McIntyre out there with a pretty entertaining promo. That's 2 weeks in a row that McIntyre kicked off Raw with a very compelling segment. What do you think about this, Jason?
That's what I haven't said before about Drew McIntyre. I think this is just kind of reiterating, what's being said. I know Drew has kind of always been underrated, especially when it comes to holding the microphone, and everything he's saying leading up to, the Royal Rumble, the loss to Seth Rollins, hit this basic heel run. In his mind, makes sense. And if you look through it from Drew McIntyre's eyes, you can see why he's got a beef with what's going on around him.
What's the story? What are they doing with Drew McIntyre? Is there a chance, Zach? Is there a percentage chance that Drew McIntyre wins the Royal Rumble?
I think so. I still expect Punk to win it, but all that is so telegraphed that they tend to surprise us with the Rumble winners. It's not always the folks that you think it will be. So I think there is, I'd say there is a solid 20% chance at least.
Wow, that's higher than I would put it. But I think
he's in the last 5 or 6 guys. Punk.
Do you think
Cody,
he's got the 5th or 6th highest percentage to win it, or the 3rd?
The Punk, Cody, Gunther. Just off the top of my head, would be the first 3 guys that I would say have the highest chance. Then the next tier down.
McIntyre ahead of Gunther.
I wouldn't.
I'd say the final 4 is Punk, Cody, Gunther, and Drew.
I can see that.
I'd put money on that.
I can totally see that.
Lesnar eliminates Gunther. The last 4 are Cody, Punk, McIntyre, Braun Breaker.
X-Pac.
He's hiding in the ring.
We forgot he was good. We forgot he was in there. He's good underneath the ring. Never been eliminated.
Honestly, I think if you want to make a star, you have Gunther just do an open challenge on a Raw or SmackDown, and you have Braun come up and beat him for that fucking title.
I mean, that would be so bold and so cool. I would be so down.
I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with that. Ultimately, I think if you don't have Braun and Carmelo Hayes in this Royal Rumble, I don't know what the hell we're doing at this point.
Wouldn't hate
one
seeing
thing we
Trick
haven't talked about, I know it's your counter, your quarterbacking, but I do love a lot of the new visuals, WWE, the direction that they're going with a lot of the backstage stuff, the peep gun and
Tyler Bate.
Tyler Bate, in the coffee shop and stuff. And
yeah.
I think we're done with Butch and we're getting the Bruiserweight back.
Yeah, I agree totally.
Let's get some of that. I'm trying to think of what happened on SmackDown. SmackDown was a lot of
Paul Heyman had to find a partner for the Bloodline.
Right, but he couldn't find one, right? So it was Orton, AJ, and LA Knight in a handicap match against Solo and Jimmy, right? Isn't that what happened?
Bloodline jumps Orton before the match, so it basically becomes a tag match until Orton comes back. Distraction finish, baby faces win. Solo gets powerbombed through the table to finish the show.
Oh, Carmelo Hayes and Austin Theory had a match that had to be stopped due to injury. Really weird bump that was taken. What did you see this, Zach?
Oh God, yeah. looked terrible, and I thought that it was because like they both landed on their head, like especially Austin Theory, like landed on his head and neck. But apparently, like one dude's head, I think, smashed into Austin Theory's face. I think that, or maybe his elbow or something. Anyway, they were both out. Like neither one of them could compete the next week or whatever.
Yep. So hope those guys get well soon, boys. Did you guys watch any NXT? They're hooking up JBL with Josh Briggs. Yeah, it kind of makes sense to me.
No problem with it. I like that he's trying to be like, be yourself. Don't be, the next JBL, which is always good sound advice.
Trick Williams.
I fucking hope nobody is the next JBL.
Stop.
Dragunov comes back and tells Trick Williams he can have his match at Vengeance Day, but if Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams make it to the finals in the Dusty Cup, they will be fighting that night also. Carmelo kind of gets mad at Trick Williams, and so that's how they're keeping that story going. They still haven't told us who attacked Trick Williams. We're still waiting for that. But, Zach, did you see this? What do you think?
I mean, I'm really into this storyline. They've done a really good job with the slow burn here and keeping it intriguing and not just being like, oh, my God, enough already, It's been good weekly serial television, so
Jason?
I'm into it.
No, this is another time where the wants and needs of Carmelo are intersecting with the wants and needs of Trick, and neither one are really. Trick is getting what he wants, but Carmelo isn't getting what he wants. So ultimately, the frustration, you can see it starting to build. And ultimately, I'm waiting for Carmelo to be like, you know what, fuck you, dude. I'm going to beat your ass and then go to the main roster.
Roxanne Perez wins the Women's Battle Royal. She'll be facing Lyra Valkyrie at Vengeance Day for the belt. Makes sense. Roxanne Perez never lost the belt. Jason, thoughts?
That's the rub right there. I mean, how we play this is going to be real interesting because I like Roxanne. Love Valkyria. I think this will be a really good match. But like you said, Roxanne never lost the title, so I'll be curious to see how they play this.
Zach?
I think if Roxanne loses, she should go up
to the main. Yeah, I was going to say, what more can we do at this point, especially with Cora Jade being out for 6 to 9 months with that ACL.
And then, did you guys see frenemy of the show, Dijak, interrupt Eddie Thorpe and Trey Bearhill and said, sorry to interrupt your powwow?
Yeah. I'm like, damn. Oh, shit. I'm like,
he must have watched Killers of the Flower Moon night.
God damn. I'm like, you get your ass beat for that shit alone.
Guess he can get away with that.
Nobody said anything.
Yeah, I know, except for me. I'm the only person that said anything
I'm talking about Bearhill and fucking Eddie Thorpe. They should be yucking him on sight.
They didn't like it.
This is banned from Ringside.
Hey, everybody, we got some birthdays this week. Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, 70. Batista is 55. Batista is still out there doing the damn thing. You ever seen Blade Runner 2049?
I haven't. I still want to see it.
Fucking great.
It's fucking great.
I was
that was my favorite movie of that year. I think it was like 2019.
Woo, that movie is badass.
Yeah, I got to see that shit.
Mark Briscoe is 39. Pat Patterson is 83. Diddling kids in heaven somewhere, I'm sure. R-Truth is 52. Should I cut that out? He's not a sitting senator, is he?
No, he's not.
R-Truth is 52. R-Truth having a bit of a run.
Yeah.
Tyler Breeze is 36. Carl Anderson is 44. Maurice is 41. And
did you say Tyler Bate was 36?
No, Tyler Breeze is 36.
Damn, that still seems young.
He should be somewhere. Put him in the G1.
Uh-oh.
Do you think they'll put Jungle Boy in the G1?
Please. Somebody's got to take some L's.
Oh, that'd be all right. Hey, everybody, we know there's a ton of podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. For Lucha Chris, for Murray the Murray Man Murray, for Patriot Pat, for Bo Vice Geisman. We'll see you next week.
See you next week, my brother.
For Tinder Mahal. For Brett Jagger. For Two Beers, Zach Ballman. For Jason Cornelius Bell. I am Bill Viggy. Black Lives Matter. Support your local weed dealers. And never ever forget to boo the heels. Boo!